Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? I'm Alexandra Harbushka. I'm founder of Life with Herpes. I have had herpes since 2003, so I've had it a really long time. I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited to be sharing a little bit about my herpes journey with you on this platform. It has definitely been a journey. Like I said, I was diagnosed in 2003, which was a while ago. I realize I'm coming up on 20 years of having herpes, which makes me feel really old and sad that that feels old. But anyways, yes, I've had it for a long time. I got oral herpes from a date. I went on a date. My date kissed me goodnight, and boom, there you go. As far as genital herpes, I got that from a boyfriend in 2011, and I have been living with it ever since. As we know, there is no cure for herpes. Viruses are something we cannot eradicate from our bodies. So, anyways, I am here today to talk to you a little bit about living with herpes, what it's like to live with herpes, as well as I do have a guest speaker. His name is Damon, and he is I'll get into a little bit more, but he is the founder of what's formerly known as Natural Cure Labs, and now it is Palmara Health. So I'm really excited for him to be joining us today so that we can really dive in and get some detailed information about how supplements really support the herpes virus. Like I've mentioned, there are definitely some lifestyle things we can do that will support our outbreaks and support, longer the duration in between. What do you say? I hate herpes. Cornea specialist and hate when it gets into the eyes. Oh, Damon's here. Look at that. Let's do this, Damon. Did it work? Did it work? Four, three, two, one. Let's see. Is it working, Damon?
I think so.
I can hear you.
Awesome.
I can't see
Yeah,
you.
it's
I
funny.
don't
I don't
know.
have a video though.
That's weird.
At least something on this platform. But hey, let's see if I can turn it on.
Okay.
There we go.
Did we do it? Oh, we did it. This is so
There we
great.
are.
We did it. We did it. All right, guys. First of all, you guys have to know how hard Damon and I worked on this. It's so humbling when you're like, I got this, and then you're on a new platform and you're like, I have no idea how this worked. But you could ask a 14-year-old and they could have told you in 2 seconds.
Well, we made it in the end. That's the most important part, right?
We did. We did. All right. So let me explain to everybody here. Definitely ask your questions. That's why we're here. We're here to just be um, a resource for you. You know, we're not doctors. I'm sure Damon mentioned that we're not doctors. Therefore, we cannot prescribe or recommend or make suggestions. The best thing that you can do is do your own research, and that's why we're here, is to give you information so that you can go and take it and educate yourself and do what is best for you when living with herpes. So as I was mentioning, I've had herpes since 2003, and I met Damon about 2 years ago. He reached out to me talking about Monolaurin. I was like, I don't know what Monolaurin is. So Damon is the founder of what's formerly known as Natural Cure Labs and now known as Palmara Health. It is a supplement company, and he's won many awards. They don't just do Monolaurin, but they have many wellness supplements, so ways to improve your immune system. And that's really what it's all about here when we're talking about herpes. The stronger our immune system, the more our body is operating on all cylinders, has the ability for us to naturally fight the virus and naturally keep it dormant and keep us from getting outbreaks. So Damon, so you guys ask your questions. Damon and I will answer them. Damon, I'm going to turn it over to you really quickly and just welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is awesome. I'm really, really thrilled to be here and really excited to get a bunch of really great questions. But as we wait for the questions to sort of trickle in, I'm trying to keep my eye on the question queue. Maybe we just start with like introducing what monolaurin is and why it's so exciting and why it's so relevant to a community like this. So monolaurin is a supplement. People take it like a vitamin, like you would vitamin C or vitamin D or vitamin E. So you can take it every day. It's also used in, everyone sort of consumes it without even knowing it. It's found in cosmetics, it's found in food, it's found in on the outside of fruits and vegetables. And the reason why it's so ever present in our life is that They has a ton of amazing research that suggests it's like really antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial. So the applications are wide and far, again, from food to cosmetics to supplements, and people who are looking to support and maintain a healthy immune system, they decide to take monolaurin as a supplement. So what is monolaurin? Well, it's a medium chain fatty acid. It comes from coconut oil and palm kernel oil. Its source is something called lauric acid. So you can eat a ton of coconut oil if you wanted to, but the research suggests that if you were to try to take like a therapeutic dose of monolaurin via coconut oil, you would need to consume like almost an entire cup of coconut oil. And for some people, that just doesn't feel really realistic or even very nice. So um, yeah, I mean, you can get it through, lauric acid is really only found in three natural sources: coconut oil, as we're talking about today, palm kernel oil, and human breast milk. So that's part of like the fascinating story around how monolaurin was discovered. It was discovered originally through the lauric acid content in human breast milk, which is pretty exciting and very different.
Which was fascinating because I remember you told me, and there was research done on how is it that these babies are surviving that are born all over the world and are born in different environments, some sanitary, some definitely not sanitary, all sorts of things going on. And how is it that they are surviving and not getting sick? And it was through the human breast milk. So I think it's a really interesting discovery, and to think that we can take this as a supplement daily. Not We don't have to go get breast milk, right? We could take it as supplement daily. And I like what you said, and this is something that hadn't occurred to me before, is we're already getting it daily. Like, we're getting it in foods that we consume because it's used as a natural way to protect our produce, makeup. It's in things just as a natural way to keep the viruses and bacteria from growing.
That's right.
Why were you so sick at your first outbreak? So the virus is pretty, like, it's a pretty fierce virus. It attacks us. It attacks our body when we first get it. A lot of people, so great question. A lot of people are with their first outbreak. Like my first outbreak, I actually had to go to the emergency room. I was so sick and so dehydrated. It can be things like fever, flu-like symptoms, body aches, body chills, extreme pain where you have the outbreaks, whether it's oral or genital. I know in 2003, when I got oral herpes, I was in so much pain, like I couldn't open my mouth. It was extremely painful to do that. And so there's just a lot of pain associated with it. The herpes virus lives in our nerves, and it lives in our nervous system. So the HSV1 virus typically lives in like the neck, jaw region, and the HSV2 virus lives down our spinal cord, kind of in the pelvic area. So that can also cause a lot of nerve pain in some people. So back to your initial question, why were you so sick? This virus just kind of attacks us. And ideally what we want to do is we want to do everything we can, like I was mentioning earlier, to keep our bodies working on all levels, and providing healthy supplements that can keep our bodies working. I know that when I'm run down or I'm out of supplements or things like that is when I feel my prodrome symptoms happening and there comes an outbreak. So yeah, that's why you're sick. But typically your repeating outbreaks will not be as severe as the first one. I mean, it will definitely lessen over time. And after about the first year, it's like the first years can be some intense outbreaks. After the first year, they kind of tend to die off. That's probably not the right word to use because it never will die off in your body, but they tend to lessen. So tell
Yeah,
me
and
a
you
little
can
bit
also
more.
take.
Yeah, sorry, what were
Oh,
you going
for
to say?
like, well, you bring up a good point around like duration and severity of outbreaks, and monolaurin is an amazing supplement that can be taken, just to help with outbreaks, but also L-lysine. I think you're a big fan of, right? L-lysine has an enormous amount of clinical research and other things that suggest that L-lysine can really help control symptoms, outbreaks, duration, etc. And the research is awesome.
Right. So I have it here. I take lysine daily. It's something that I have my little, I feel like Mary Poppins. I have my little bag of tricks over here. Um, so this is lysine that I take daily. It is not open. It is basically, it's a protein, and we can talk about that. It's just a little white tablet. Not a tablet, but it's a little, how do you
Capsule.
call it, Damon? You have, the lingo.
It's a capsule.
Thank you. It's a capsule, and it has lysine. A lysine is an essential amino acid, which is, in other words, a protein. Unlike monolaurin, lysine is something that that our body has to get daily. So it's not something that our body makes. Like monolaurin, our body makes it for our young, makes it for our offspring. Essential amino acids are things that are essential to the well-being of our health and our life, but we have to get them from the foods that we eat. So there's two things that are really important when we're dealing with herpes. One would be arginine, one would be lysine. Now, like I was mentioning, they're both essential. They're both needed in our bodies. Arginine is really great for cardiovascular health. It's great for blood flow. It's great for recovery if you're an athlete. It actually enhances your athletic performance. So arginine is given to a lot of athletes, and it's also hidden in a lot of our pre-workouts, our post-workouts, our protein building workout supplements. And it's something that we do consume daily. On the flip side, we have something that's called lysine that is also an essential amino acid, and it's great for our muscles, our building blocks of our muscles. It's great for joint and tendon repair. It also helps our body synthesize synthesize other supplements in our body. So they're both extremely important. The thing that I'm getting to is lysine actually helps block the replication of the herpes virus. We don't want the herpes virus to replicate, right? When it's in replication mode, that's when it goes into an outbreak or it goes into viral shedding. These are things that, as someone that lives with herpes, I don't want that. I don't want the virus to replicate. I want to do everything I can to keep it dormant away. I never want to think about it. So by taking lysine daily is a way that you can help kind of fight it internally as well as topically and help, prevent the replication. So that together with monolaurin is really important. And that's why I have Damon here, because he's done a ton of research on the use of monolaurin and lysine together. Did I lose you?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
No. I didn't know if I was jumping in or if you were
Yeah.
reading a question. No, that you're absolutely right. Everything you said was spot on. And they're two very complementary supplements that, they serve different functions, but complementary ones. And, I see some questions here around, is it okay to take lysine with antivirals? And I don't think there's any interaction there. Or a list of supplements that, may be beneficial to someone who's dealing with HSV1 or HSV2. And there's a very long list of supplements that have an enormous amount of research, ranging from elderberry to oregano to olive leaf, and there's a very long list of herbal extracts and botanicals, antioxidants, etc., which can be very healthy for supporting immune system. But today I think we're going to focus on a couple key ones where the majority of the research lies, especially as it relates to HSV, and that's around lysine, which we just talked about, and around monolaurin. And sort of the complementary nature here is what we were discussing earlier, is lysine can help with reduce the symptoms and severity of outbreaks, where monolaurin suggests in clinical studies that it may inactivate the virus. So the virus is in the replication phase. If it is sort of jumping around, monolaurin has been shown in vitro and in vivo studies to inactivate the virus as it's moving around within the system.
Sorry, I was talking to my dog. I loved that though.
No problem.
Right, so I do love how you say they're very complementary together, because while one is definitely specific to herpes, that's lysine, L-lysine, we have the monolaurin that also helps with the enveloped viruses. And I love when you describe the enveloped viruses. Basically, I wasn't aware of this. They're enveloped viruses mean that it's a fatty lipid, a fatty protein, fatty lipid that's around the virus. Our immune systems can't penetrate that. I like to use the example of, it's like an egg. You have an eggshell, you can't get into it, right? Our immune system can't tap through that eggshell. So monolaurin assists it by dissolving or breaking down that outer shell. I'll let you continue
That's
since
right.
you're the expert on it.
Yeah, so exactly. So an enveloped virus is a category of viruses. Enveloped just means that it has this fatty lipid sheath that protects the DNA or the RNA of the virus. And there are a lot of enveloped viruses that are, we're exposed to all the time, including HSV1 and 2, but coronaviruses are enveloped, measles are enveloped viruses, influenza, I think, is an enveloped virus. So there's a lot of viruses that have this fatty lipid um, protective coating, and you're exactly right. So what you need to do is you need to disrupt that outer coating, and at the end of the day, when you have oil either from cooking in a pan or on your hands, or, I don't know, working on the car or something like that, um, you break down the oil layer by using soap. Soap naturally breaks down oil layers, and monolaurin is a type of soap. Someone has recently told me that, oh yeah, monolaurin is like soap for my insides, and it really does have an activating and destructive effect on these fatty lipid protective coatings of these different viruses.
Wow, so interesting. I like to think of it as like, like in the old, like I'm thinking Crusade era, when like they'd go out with like their swords and they would like go out and put the shields up. Like all the warriors would go out. I feel like Monolaurin's like breaking their shields down and just like, okay, now they like come on in.
Totally, absolutely. Someone asked a really important question around like, okay, so if I want to go seek out Monolaurin, like what's the best brand? And I'm not here to promote a particular brand, although I do have a favorite. You really should be thoughtful of like, how to search for like the best characteristics of a brand, right? So the first thing you need to decide is like, how do you want to take Monolaurin? Monolaurin comes in really three types, either a loose powder, which I don't recommend because monolaurin actually, as we said, it has this very strong soapy flavor, which like coats the mouth and it's almost impossible to get away from. It's very bitter, very soapy. So I don't suggest the loose powder. You can take it in a pellet form. So they manufacture monolaurin, these small BB sized pellets. And those are really interesting because you can get a lot of monolaurin from one scoop, but a lot of people complain that it actually passes through your digestive system undissolved. So even though you take a big scoop and you think you may be getting several grams of monolaurin, you're not really confident of how much you're absorbing. So I prefer to take monolaurin capsules. And when you select a capsule, like, is it important to you whether the capsule is vegetarian or whether it's made from animal product? That's something you might look into. Um, what is the dosage of monolaurin you're getting? Is it 600 milligrams a capsule, 300, 800? Their capsules come in all sizes and shapes. Where is the monolaurin source? Like we said in the beginning, monolaurin comes from both coconut oil and palm kernel oil. And some people suggest that coconut oil is the more potent or the more high quality variant, but also there are other considerations to be made around, is palm kernel really the best for the environment and things of that nature. And then finally, like, where's the quality coming from, right? Like, I would absolutely look up the websites of these monolaurin manufacturers and see, like, hey, are they FDA registered? Are they good manufacturing process certified? Are they sending their products to laboratories for testing? So, a little 5 minutes of some research should get you down a path of looking for a really, really good, really reputable and trustworthy monolaurin.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I personally cannot live without now. And it's something, like I said, I've been taking probably the last year. I was pregnant, I think, when I met Damon, so I wasn't doing that until after the
Oh my gosh, I
baby.
remember now.
I know, I know, yeah. Now he's two. Now he's two.
That's incredible.
Um, so someone asked, do you have a list of all the supplements or any for our nerves especially? I would say, as far as supplements, I would say anything that's going to boost your immune system. So anything that boosts your immune system that feels good for you. Obviously, a multivitamin Vitamin C is known to help the immune system. Vitamin D is known to help the immune system. Zinc is known to help the immune system. There's other things like Damon mentioned, elderberry. That's become quite popular now since COVID came out. There's a lot of other things. It's just a matter of what works for you, what works, what's already in your multivitamin. I also think there's no better way also is just fresh air, sunshine, water, go for a walk outside. That also boosts your immune system. There's a lot of lifestyle things that we can do as well that are very beneficial. And then, like I said, the two specifically are lysine and monolaurin, specifically for herpes. And like you said, they do a great job of complementing one another. Please spell monolaurin. It's M. Oh, you spelled it. Wow, you're fast, Damon. Let's see. Should you take supplements if you hardly get outbreaks? That's going to be something that's up to you. I also get a similar question is, should you take the antiviral if you don't get outbreaks? Again, I'm going to suggest that you talk to your doctor and what your doctor suggests. But these supplements are made just to assist with your overall health, assist with your overall immune system. Monolaurin isn't specific to the herpes virus. It helps other viruses. It also helps other microbes in our body. Well, not help them, it hurts them, basically. It helps us, hurts them. It supports our overall gut health. So there's a lot of benefits to it. Like we mentioned earlier, if you do have any specific questions on it, you can ask your medical provider and see what they say. But there's really, from what I learned from Damon and what Damon's discussed with me, there's really no downside to adding monolaurin to your daily regime.
Yeah, to add to that, monolaurin is on the FDA's GRAS list. GRAS is an acronym which stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. So a lot of people take monolaurin every day just as a part of their overall health routine. And as Alexandra says, supplements are supplementary in nature. It's not a magic bullet for anything. It still requires other lifestyle changes that include, eating really well, mental health, getting proper rest, etc. But supplements, may help out, and taking them as like a daily driver probably isn't hurting.
Right. Someone just asked, what are the most no's for someone newly diagnosed with herpes? So I would say, what do you need to know if you're just newly diagnosed with herpes? I would say, number one, I would educate yourself. It's very easy for us to go down the spiral that we either do fight, or freeze. So our body, we're under duress. Our body's under duress with some sort of information like this. We were just, quote unquote, diagnosed with the world's worst virus, which is not, because of a stigma, right? It's because it's stigmatized and it's very taboo to have herpes. And so we're under duress. So we either go into the fight where we want to hate the person that we got it from. We want to fight against the world. We flight, meaning like we disappear from our problems. We forget that we have herpes, or we freeze and we go into this like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And then somewhere along the line, as we maybe start researching it. So what I would recommend is take some deep breaths and then educate yourself on the virus. You're doing exactly what you're doing, watching something like this. Doing what you can. I have lots of videos on YouTube. There's a lot of people out there that are resources for you. So I would do your own research on it. Google is terrifying, extremely terrifying. Try to stay away from Google because they show pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? I'm the type of person when I see pictures, like I go to the vet and I see pictures of heartworm, like I leave there thinking I have heartworm, and that's not possible for humans to get heartworm. So Google's not a good spot. But as far as I would educate, then I would surround yourself with like-minded people. When I was diagnosed with genital herpes in 2011, I was alone. I didn't have anybody to talk to. It was extremely isolating, and I felt like I was the only person in the world, and I felt like I had to make a lot of sacrifices in my life and in my dreams because I now had this scarlet letter. I was now deemed unclean, unworthy, a really low, bad spot. And when you realize the statistics that 80% of the population has herpes, 90% of the people with genital herpes don't know they have it. When you find out that it's just so common, you realize, why am I letting or allowing this microscopic virus to control my life. So I recommend joining a community. Obviously, that's why I have the Life with Herpes community, but finding a community that fits you and your needs so that you feel safe and you can have resources. Yes, the stigma is too much. The stigma it's I think we all can agree, stigmas are there because when you're on the opposite side of a stigma, it can be entertaining. It can give you something to talk about. Before I had herpes, if I ever heard of somebody had herpes, or I'd be like, oh, well, I know why they have it. You know what I mean? And there's that stigma that goes with it. And if people laughed about it at a party, of course you would laugh at it at a party. It was just part of it. Now, when you're on the opposite side of it, also I'm older, I'm not a teenager, you realize like, wow, that actually can be extremely detrimental and extremely hurtful. And when those jokes happen at the water cooler, what people don't realize is the majority of the people sitting there actually have it. It's so hard to come out and say you have it. It is, but we have to remember that we can't let this virus control us. Otherwise, we go into a victim mindset. And when we're in a victim mindset is when we do go down that spiral. It's when we start doing the finger pointing and you did this to me and you hurt me and you did opposed to taking responsibility and saying, okay, I have this. This is what I'm going to do to move forward. I think one of the best things that actually happened to me was getting herpes. It's because it allowed me to make medical changes. It allowed me to make health changes. It allowed me to get rid of people in my life that were toxic. It gave me a lot of confidence. It taught me how to stand up for myself. I wouldn't be down this health path. I probably would never have heard of Monolaurin, and I wouldn't be here if I hadn't gotten herpes. So, yeah. You said you felt broken, like you were damaged. I think those are all extremely common symptoms to feel, ways to feel. It definitely is very, it's a tragic feeling when you are diagnosed. Damon, what are some other things that Monolaurin does that's really helpful? So not specifically to herpes, but I know we talked about in the Secret Society. So Damon is my only guest I ever have in the Secret Society. I don't allow anybody in there. It's just our community and people living with herpes. But Damon's my only person that's in there because he just adds so much information. And I learned that it's also really great for our gut health. And as we're learning and doing more is that, our immune system starts in our gut. So can you talk to us a little bit more about how it helps the good flora and hurts the bad flora?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Monolaurin has a number of applications that's not limited to HSV, right? So um, within its applications for overall immune health, like gut health is one of the biggest ones. Like, so a lot of people suffer from something called a leaky gut. It's when you're unable to process and absorb nutrients as you should. And like Crohn's disease and IBS and other symptoms can sort of contribute to that. And it could be from bacterial overgrowth within the gut. It could be from biofilm formations, etc. And Monolaurin has been shown to disrupt biofilm formations, to improve the healthy flora of the gut, and to eliminate a lot of pathogens which cause things like malnutrition through diarrhea and through other stomach problems that may come with having a bacterial infection within the gut. So a lot of folks use Monolaurin for healthy, like to improve digestion and healthy gut. Monolaurin is also used quite frequently for yeast overgrowths. So when you hear yeast overgrowths, a lot of people automatically assume things like a yeast infection in the vaginal canal, but it goes beyond that. It can happen in the gut as well. It can happen in the mouth. It's called thrush when you have yeast overgrowth in the oral cavity. And Monolaurin has been shown to inactivate several different types of yeast. So people with like yeast problems can take Monolaurin. Another thing that Monolaurin is widely used for, it's got a very, very strong following in like for things like chronic fatigue, Epstein-Barr virus, and chronic Lyme disease. So these are all results of a bacterial pathogen. I don't recall the name. It starts with a B. It's a very Latin-sounding name, but yeah. So a tick bite can give you Lyme disease, and Lyme disease can evolve to be something that's a little bit more chronic, which evolves to include chronic fatigue syndrome and even Epstein-Barr or mono, right? And monolaurin has been shown to inactivate the bacteria which causes those problems. And so, and within the Lyme community, which there is a big one, I've read there's several like famous singers that have Lyme disease. Avril Lavigne, I think, is one who has has Lyme disease and is like really vocal about it. But
Super
monolaurin can actually
random.
help in a big way. Yeah, it is a bit random, but people that who live on the East Coast or Northeast are pretty familiar with Lyme disease. But yeah, the applications are far and wide, and also skin health. Monolaurin has some good research around. Um, there was another one. Oh, yeah, it can also help regulate T4 levels if you have like an autoimmune disease, like a thyroid condition or a Hashimoto's disease. A monolaurin can help with T4 regulation. So there's an enormous amount of applications for it. Here we like to focus very specifically about one use case and a couple viruses, but the applications are actually very far-reaching, which is pretty cool.
Wow, I didn't realize it also helps with the T4. That's important for me because I don't know if I have low T4 or low T3, but my doctor's always like, oh, your T4 or your whatever isn't converting to your T3. So that's good to know that I am supporting it with my monolaurin. It said here, you said, is it true in your opinion that herpes can't be spread if you have it for 10 years plus? So that's false. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say old wives' tales, but I would say that there's a lot of information that wasn't known about herpes until in the recent decades. So if people were diagnosed, I would say prior to the 80s, they thought, oh, well, a cold sore isn't herpes, it's a cold sore. And they didn't realize it was herpes. They didn't realize that it could transmit it even though you didn't have an outbreak. So let me just get back to your initial question here is herpes, you have it for life. So it doesn't matter if you've had it 1 year, 10 years, 50 years, you're still able to transmit it. What you may have heard is after the first year of having herpes, it kind of slows down in your body. It's most active the first year. It's moving into your body per se. It's learning to live. And then after that first year, your immune system typically is able to keep it under control. So no, you are still able to transmit it after 10 years. The herpes virus gets transmitted when you have active outbreaks. So if you have like lesions or blisters, or during shedding. So when the virus sheds, I describe that as everything sheds, like anything that's alive would shed. So I put my hand through my hair, I'm probably gonna get, I didn't get one, but I would get I still didn't get one. My hair would come out, like I cry, we sweat, our body sheds, trees drop leaves, flowers drop petals. This virus wants to shed its DNA, it wants to regenerate. So when that happens, the DNA goes up to the viral DNA goes up to the surface of the skin, and that is when transmission occurs without an outbreak. We don't know when that's happening. It's typically referred to as asymptomatic shedding. So we typically don't know when that's happening, and that's why 70% of transmissions occur without an outbreak. And I don't want you to hear that, because you can hear that sometimes, like 70% of the time transmission is going to occur. No, it's 70% of the people that have herpes got it without an active outbreak, meaning the person they came in contact with didn't have an active outbreak. This person says they had Epstein-Barr, chronic fatigue, walking mono in the 90s. Okay, so your body needs a little TLC. Definitely. I think monolaurin would be a great way to support that. I'm sure you're working with doctors as well. These viruses, once they come into our bodies, they're there for life, and they can have kind of their own little lifespan, similar to the chickenpox virus. We have our first outbreak, and if we put so much stress on our body, then we will get what's called shingles. That's the life cycle of that virus. So a lot of these viruses can go dormant or silent, and we think that they're gone, but then they kind of pop up and like to remind us that we need to take care of our immune systems and take care of our bodies. I'm going to answer one more question, then I want to get back to monolaurin. So should I keep my towels and washcloths separate from my children? So here's my personal point of view on children and my personal point of view on protecting people that we love from getting herpes is because people ask me all the time, well, do you kiss your child? Do you share drinks with your child? I want you all to know that I do everything that a mommy without herpes would do. I kiss my child, I share drinks, I will get in the bath with my son. I will do those things. If I have an active outbreak, I of course do not. If I have an active outbreak, I do not share towels. It's very removed. I want us all to realize that this virus is out there, that the people you love, that you're trying to protect them from getting this virus, are coming into contact with it via other sources. There's other people that have it that are in their lives as well. So we can't completely protect the people that we love from getting it. And so I don't want us to feel like we can't live a normal life, or like, oh my gosh, I have to wash my hands every single time, or if I go to the bathroom, do I have to wash the toilet seat, or should I do a total, should I bring bleach wipes with me into the bathroom and things like that? I would say you and whoever you live with should discuss if there's something that is concerning to somebody, or somebody has a fear. What works for my life isn't necessarily what's going to work for your life. But I don't want you to feel like you have to change your life. Herpes was there prior to you knowing it was there. Like, people in your life had it prior to you knowing that you had it. And if there's just, do what works for you. Obviously, don't directly, I wouldn't take a sip of something and give it to my son with an outbreak. Okay, I just wanted to touch base on that. Funny you should mention chickenpox. That's what started the viral mess. Poor thing. You're getting all the good ones. Chickenpox, mono, Epstein-Barr. Okay.
Yeah, there's a big connection between shingles, Epstein-Barr virus, chronic fatigue syndrome, mono. There's a fantastic article on a website called Monolaurin and More, which talks exactly about the relationship between those viral infections and sort of the relationship, and how they're a lot closer related than people think, and the application of Monolaurin to potentially help relieve some symptoms and potentially inactivate some of those viruses. So the website's called monolaurinandmore.com, and there's a page which has a bunch of health articles, and there's one specifically on Epstein-Barr, shingles, etc. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of great, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that was where I wanted to go with it. There are, like Damon always says, I want you to do your own research. There's a lot of information out there. Monolaurin and More is a great website. I use it predominantly when I have Monolaurin questions, or when one of you guys ask me a question and I'm stumped by. Well, I usually go to Damon, but I also try to do my best research prior. And when I need to educate myself, because I am educating people on it, I definitely go to Monolaurin and More. So one of the things that I think is also really, well, I just want to talk to you a little bit about Damon's company and Damon's introduction to Monolaurin to me. It really has been beneficial for me. I have been using his Lysine. I've been using his Monolaurin. There's also plenty of other products. I know Damon is always like, I don't want to promote. I'm just here to educate, but I definitely want to give him accolades. One of the things that he has recently done is he has changed his company's name, which I know, as he explained to me, you literally start from zero when it comes to marketing, when it comes to SEO, when it comes to boosting posts and things like that. So I would love if we could all support Damon. And if you have purchased or used one of his products, if you could leave an honest review on Amazon, that would be extremely helpful for him. That would be a great way to say thank you. I do have details on how to do that. Link in my bio, where I talk about if you have purchased one of the products and leave a review, he actually has a really cool offer for you. So I'll let you tell us what the offer is.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Look, we love supporting the community, and we love supporting people who come to these types of events. I think on your site we offer a 10% off promo code that's fine for either Amazon or the website. Using either name will get you to the right website. It's naturalcurelabs.com or palmarahealth.com. You'll find all the Monolaurin products there. We have a 600 milligram, 800 milligram, and a combination product. And as you so kindly said, Alexandra, if people felt motivated to leave an honest review, we would love to say thank you to anyone who's able to do that by sending you a free product. So all you have to do is check out one of the products under the new brand, Palmara Health. After you've had a chance to experience it and draw some conclusions, leave a review. Send us a screenshot of the review. We'll get a free product out in the mail right away. All the details are on your site, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Damon is so generous, and I know there's a lot of people that do not give out free products, and I just think that you're so generous, and I truly believe you want to educate people and you want to get this information out there. And as a thank you for them for supporting you and leaving honest reviews, it's a great gift. So, yeah, this is the lysine, and here's the lysine and monolaurin duo, which we sort of
Yeah.
talked about, but there's just a lot of options for us people that are living with herpes that make it great. So link is in my bio. I do have it for you there, talking about the monolaurin promo. You can check it out, and I'll see you all soon on the next live. If you guys have more questions for me about monolaurin for Damon, you can just leave a Q&A. I will get to them. I will answer them. Maybe Damon and I will do a TikTok together, so we could get wild with that. Oh, what's the monolaurin duo? It's monolaurin and lysine. It's right here for you. I don't know if it's showing the screen backwards for you, but it's L-lysine and
It is showing
monolaurin.
backwards, which is kind of
Is it
funny.
showing backwards? So it is the lysine monolaurin duo, and instead of taking double the pills, it's all right here condensed for you, which is really helpful because I end up at the end of the night, because I have my vitamin D and my vitamin C and my and like my pills at the end of the night are a lot, so that it makes it easier. All right, my friends, I will see you soon. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining Damon, and I will see you all soon.
It was great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.